is Ranger Kidwell Ross at the American Public Works PWX show in Seattle in September of 2019. I'm in the Triverus booth, and Triverus has a very interesting cleaning solution that is allied to the sweeping industry and then some. It's like sweeping on steroids, it seems like. We have with us here in the booth their marketing director for Triverus, Steve Karlin, and Steve's going to tell us kind of briefly what these machines will do for us. Hey, thanks, Steve.
Okay, thanks a lot, Ranger. This is Steve Karlin. My name is Steve Karlin, marketing director for Triverus Company, LLC. And the technology for Triverus came from an R&D project that the owner of the company, Hans Vogel, won for the U.S. Navy to clean aircraft carrier decks. Aircraft carrier decks are covered with pollutants, oil and gas, rubber, tire rubber, copper, and so on, and they have to be able to get it off without it damaging that surface. So he proposed a solution to the U.S. Navy. He won that contract, and what we have here today we're showing at APWA is the commercial version of that. It's a environmentally focused surface cleaning machine. Just hard surface is all we need. It's not for baseball diamonds, it's not for parks, it's for permeable, impermeable, garage surfaces, any hard surface. In particular, these days, stormwater is a big issue, and one of the solutions for stormwater, where the EPA is saying that your stormwater has to stay on your property, one of the solutions for that is permeable surfaces. The water falls on the surface, it percolates through and replenishes the water table without carrying pollutants off to the streets or the waterways. Permeable will clog within about 3 years. With standard conventional sweeping, you can extend that period slightly, but in the end, it's going to clog because you've got leaves, you've got debris, you've got silt, you've got solids that are going to pack into that surface, and it goes subsurface because of the voids in the permeable. We're using about 3,000 psi water pressure jet to stimulate that material out of the cracks and the voids in that surface. We're using a vacuum, a high volume, low speed vacuum to reclaim that as a slurry, and then we separate that out so you can dispose of the solids according to EPA standards and rules. It also is a great thing for impermeable surfaces. In particular, the next time you're in any parking lot, look at the ground. You'll find that if it's typically very dirty, but we get so used to walking across it, the dirt and the pollutants are adhering to that surface. There's an energy there that's bonding that material to the surface. Normal sweeping will not break that free. There's not enough energy there to excite those solids up and away from that surface and get them up in the air where you can reclaim them. That's what our water jets do. We're going to put 3,000 psi against it. It excites that material, oil and gas, copper, the tire tracking that you'll see on the pavement. It'll pick that material up, it'll bounce it up in the air with the energy it's injecting into that material, and then we're going to sweep it up, or we're going to vacuum it up, and we're going to contain it for disposal. That's the key thing, we're going to contain it. Most street sweepers don't contain, and other than the stuff that's already loose on the surface, and we're not worried about that. This is our niche, is the stuff that's attached or subsurface in your material. That's what we're after, and that's our specialty solution that we're showing here today.
And I know from my interviews that I've done with Hans Vogel, the CEO of Triverus, and I'd encourage people that are interested in this concept that Steve is talking about to go to the Triverus website and the World Sweeper, listen to the audio podcast with Hans, but you've made enormous inroads into the military for runways and for carrier decks and those kinds of things. And porous is one thing, but also parking garages. There have been cities that are cited as saving significant millions of dollars by using your technology over others for cleaning parking garages.
A perfect example of that is Minneapolis International Airport. They, in about 2012, they spent millions to replumb their parking garages from their sanitary sewers back to the stormwater sewers so they wouldn't have to pay the processing fee. The EPA happened down. Minneapolis Airport is right hard on the Mississippi River. The EPA tested some samples at their outfall, found pollutants involved. They were in violation of their permits. they had a choice. They either had to clean their parking lots better, or they had to replumb to the sanitary sewer. They chose to buy 4 MCVs, and they found that as they picked up these pollutants and they contained them, they could dispose of all of those solids into their normal landfill system without violating EPA standards. But obviously that's a different standard than what goes into the Mississippi River. Minneapolis Airport solved their problem with the MCV. They went from 4 to 6, then to 7. They have 7 units now as they continue to build parking lots. Great. We got some great photos of one pass lifting of oil and gas that you would think would never come off of that surface. That's the stuff that's going into your stormwater. That's the stuff the EPA is after.
Very good. Well, thanks a lot, Steve.
Thank you.
And I'll close in on the logo here, and you can find them at Triverus.com. And that's what the kind of machine we're talking about.